Chapter 4: Sand Castles. I started frequenting a very popular coffee house in Jersey City. It was a smoke-filled, dimly lit storefront space with a few couches, tables, and armchairs. A mostly local crowd would start filtering in about 5 p.m. to talk, drink coffee, tea, and listen to folk singers perform. At that time, I began dating a girl named Rachel, who wrote the arts and entertainment section for the town paper. We liked the coffee house concept and decided to pool our resources and open a place of our own. In a matter of months, we were in business. We called our place the Third Fret and staffed it with a manager, cooks, and waitresses. As a popular writer, Rachel was able to bring other writers in to do reviews and place ads, while I, a music lover and guitar player, spent countless hours in New York recruiting talent. I brought in some top-notch performers, many who were on the verge of signing major recording contracts. One of the bands that came in asked me to manage them, which meant booking them in clubs in New York and New Jersey. A second band came in with the same script, and I found myself moving in some fast and exciting circles, where many contacts and relationships were made, all of this being done while still holding down my day job at Two Guys. From the beginning, however, there were 3 things destined to make the coffee house dream a failure. One was my growing ego. The second, issues with city licensing officials. Third, my brothers Bobby and Freddie. Freddie, who in between terms in prison had grown to be an extremely manipulative person, somehow convinced me that I could run the business without Rachel. Under his advice, I severed our business relationship and continued on alone. It was a major mistake. She represented us well in the media, and her absence took a tremendous toll. In the meantime, Bobby, who I employed as a short-order cook, began teaming up with Freddie and breaking into the place after hours to steal money from the machines. This created financial hardship because the profit they provided, which covered their rental fees and a portion of the bills, was no longer there. More painful than the financial setback, however, was the emotional hurt. I couldn't understand why my brothers would steal from me. All my life I had helped nurture and provide for them. Yet here they were trying to destroy me. Unfortunately, I let it go on longer than I should have. Reflecting on it now, I realize it wasn't about me, but the drugs. An alcoholic drug addict will abuse those he loves most. He doesn't want to, but feeding his addiction is the most important thing in life. Like a woman said to me in a meeting many years later, I would die for my children, but I can't stop drinking for them. This is how it was with my brothers. They loved me, but their heart was at the mercy of their addiction. One day after Bobby had stolen and gotten into an accident with a new Corvette I just purchased, I approached him with tears in my eyes and said, "Bobby, one day you're going to come to me and I won't be there for you." Although I told him one day, in my mind I had already let him and Freddie go. On top of my ongoing family crisis was the constant harassment I was getting from city officials. This was the mid-60s, the age of the Stones, Dylan, and the psychedelic drug experience. The establishment was afraid of it, and they saw the Third Fret as a threat to the town. They wanted me out. During my hours of operation, health officials inspected the kitchen while detectives came in and talked with me. Their identity was obvious to my patrons, which put me in a very uncomfortable position. One Friday night while the band was playing, an inspection was performed and I was told I had to close the business immediately. I angrily put everyone out, locked the doors, and never went back. With anger to burn, I started racing my Corvette at the track in Old Bridge. Every Saturday night, that's where I was, caught up in the adrenaline of the screaming crowd, the roar of the engines, and the thick clouds of burning rubber. Sitting behind the wheel of this high-performance machine gave me the sense of control and power that somehow kept evading me, and I raced with a vengeance as a signal to everyone that Charles was in charge. I later had a 1955 Chevy specially built, but never put it on the track. Its glory days were spent dragging county roads in Jersey City. In addition to racing, I also found control behind the wheel of romance. I met a woman named Joyce, and we got engaged. But as our relationship grew deeper, I began losing command of my emotions and reached a point where I refused to go any further. My soul was being laid bare, and I could see the tiny fingers of a wounded child rising from the shadows of my past, and it scared me. It was unfortunate that she had to get locked in this situation with me, but I knew I couldn't give her the commitment she needed. A date was set, and the closer it got, the more restless I became. I broke the engagement, and she was devastated, but I had to move on. Everything was confusing to me then. I didn't feel anchored to anything. It was as if my life, my world, my mind were slipping from my hands like sand beneath the swirling ebb of an ocean tide. One frigid afternoon while walking along Bergen Avenue, I began to sense that I was going insane. Tears poured down my face and my breathing became extremely heavy. My legs began to tremble, and I felt like a marionette dancing from a thread that was about to break. Crossing the street, I saw a church on the opposite corner. A priest came out and was walking towards me. I desperately wanted to run up and ask him for help, but I was too ashamed. I didn't want him to know that my mind was going. After coming within inches of him, I dropped my head and passed by without saying a word. I didn't trust my emotions or thoughts anymore, so I tried to silence them because I was frightened of where they might lead me. There were occasions when I'd be sitting in a club where everyone was in a festive mood and have to dash to the men's room to cry. All the emotional garbage that was locked inside me for so many years was trying to surface, but it was too overwhelming. Out of nowhere, I started buying Bibles, many of them. I would put them on shelves and carry them with me, never really understanding why. But what I did know is that the Bible was about God, someone my mother talked about when I was a child, but whom I'd never came to know. He healed and protected the good, but also punished the bad. Unsure of which side of the line I stood, I kept his book near, but him at a distance. And there I remained in limbo. With my world turned upside down, I decided to relocate to Greenwich Village in New York, believing a change of scenery would do me good. The move would also enable me to spend more time with the band members, booking gigs in the area where all the hottest clubs were located. As it turned out, however, this was not such a good idea. Not in my state of mind. There were too many people, and I found them a violation of my personal space. Space I wanted to keep hidden from the prying eyes of anyone who might catch wind of my mental state. One evening I was sitting outside a bar and grill waiting for the lead singer of one of the bands when I was struck by a sudden wave of panic. I wanted to run like I did during my track days until it went away. But I didn't know where to run to. In which direction would I find freedom? Or would running only take me deeper into fear's harrowing grip? I sat paralyzed and didn't dare move an inch. In a matter of seconds, it seemed like my body disappeared and all that remained was my mind. On the other side of the street, I saw myself. 3 of me, one walking behind the other. Couldn't figure out which of them was the real me. Whether I had been there before, was there now, and had been there for a while, or if I was just arriving. I remained that way for close to 20 minutes, until I was conscious of my body again. When it felt safe to move, I went inside the bar and never mentioned a word to a soul. Had I experienced a nervous breakdown? I wasn't sure, but what I did know was that I had come close to the gate of insanity, and somehow made it back. With that began the tormenting thought of whether I'd survive if it had happened again. Would I be able to just backpedal and go about my business, or would I find myself trapped, put in a straitjacket and locked away in a cold, dark place like all the other less fortunate souls who had passed that way before me? I was terrified of what the answer might be.